What it do, people? It's your boy Dre Day every day, and today gotta hit you with that third entry in my A.A.D series. We're gonna talk about none other than Kendrick Lamar. Man, Kendrick Lamar is a highly polarizing rapper, especially for people that's in my generation. Like, if you if you know anybody that's in that age range of born in 1985 and before, you're gonna get some very extreme opinions about Kendrick Lamar. And I don't know why this is, because Kendrick Lamar is a great MC, and from my perspective, this is he's one of the first artists that I seen that was a great MC that just got a lot of scrutiny. And I don't know if it was because he represents a new generation and he was just as good as rappers in previous generations. And I guess, people, it's that whole concept of people don't like seeing their heroes die off and then the new breed showing up. That it seems like it could be an example of that. I don't know. But it, check with your people, check with anybody that's born in 1985 and before, and ask them how they feel about Kendrick Lamar. But anyway, I'll start with when I got started with Kendrick. I'm not going to even front. When I very first heard Kendrick Lamar, I thought he was whack. Um, the first time I heard Kendrick Lamar was 2011, and it was on Game's Red album. That song called "The City" that's at the beginning, and I actually still don't even like that song. I don't like that song today. Um, I heard this, and then I was hearing the commotion about Kendrick Lamar, and I was like, what's this about? And then I heard that, and I'm like, you mean to tell me that this is what the commotion about, and this is it? I'm like, the West Coast is in trouble. So, kind of went on, didn't pay much attention. Then, like next year, 2012, I hear swimming pools on the radio. It may have been other songs that I heard in between. Then I don't know, but uh, swimming pools hit the radio, and I really liked that song to the point I was like, who is this? I was like, Kendrick Lamar. And I'm like, damn, this is dope. So that prepped me for getting Good Kid, Mad City. Now, mind you, at this time I had missed all of I missed the Kendrick Lamar EP. I missed the C4, the stuff he did as K Dot. I will say that Game has put on for Kendrick Lamar a lot, like, because Kendrick Lamar is actually on a Game mixtape from 2006, and I can't think of the name of it, but I'll get you a picture here shortly. But he's on that mixtape. It's a song called The Cipher. Then Game has him on the Red album, of course. He has him on Jesus Piece, and has him on Documentary too. Like, him and Kendrick Lamar, Game put on for Kendrick Lamar. I can't say that. But going back, so me with swimming pools, liking the record, ended up getting Good Kid, Mad City, and I actually didn't like, what was that? The Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. I wasn't a fan of that song, and I wasn't a fan of Backseat Freestyle. Now, I will go on to say that I have this thing with me where I am not big on songs as individual pieces. Like, I don't really like singles, because when I hear a single, in my head, I begin to craft how the album sounds, and then if I don't, so I can hear a single, and I might, if I don't like it a lot, if it's just kind of like okay, I begin to craft how the album sounds, and then I'll just have to reprogram my brain after the album comes out. But anyway, I didn't like those records, but then I ended up getting Good Kid, Mad City, and I was liking some songs on there. I liked the Recipe, and I liked the Mad City, but it was like something about the album didn't connect with me at the time. And I can admit that I was halfway listening to it because me, the way I am, I have to study music to know how I really feel about it. So I ended up putting Good Kid, Mad City down. And fast forward, 2013, Grand Theft Auto 5 released. Matter of fact, what's that? November 17th, 2013 on the PS3 and Xbox 360. So I get Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, mind you, Kendrick Lamar is kind of like, he's around, but I'm like, I don't know. I hadn't sat down and gave him a serious listen, and I had missed, like I said, missed Section 80 and all the other stuff. And so the Control verse hits. I remember this like it happened yesterday. Control verse hits. Well, the song released, and I listened to it, and I was like, okay, and I was like, dang, what did stand out to me about the Kendrick verse is how he called names, and he was like, you know, he drew his line, and he drew a line in the sand, like, yeah, I'm coming for you cats. I heard it, and I was like, okay. I ended up taking a nap and waking up, and Twitter was on fire. And I'm sitting up looking like, what's going on here? And everybody's talking about the Control verse. And I'm sitting up like, you mean to tell me these people are all in commotion over this whack ass artist? So, with that being said, I was like, yep, I couldn't wrap my mind around it. So, continuing, because it was Control verse in September, November. It was somewhere around the time that Grand Theft Auto it came out, and I was getting ready to start working at Coca-Cola, if I hadn't already got started. Um, I'm playing Grand Theft Auto, and I made it my business to beat Grand Theft Auto before October 1st. That's actually my birthday, because that was when the online released. And through all the hours of playing and in the music, I heard that song ADHD, and I was like, who is this? Kendrick Lamar? And that ADHD went hard as fuck to me when I heard it. And then when I heard the how he told the story, like the first verse is about a dude who's sitting up at a house party, sitting up looking at everybody taking drugs and stuff, and his mentality was like, damn man, our previous generation was on drugs, we need to do better. But then the second verse he told from like the girl's perspective, and her perspective was like, because the girl and the boy was talking to each other. The girl was like, shit, why you tripping? We crack babies because we born in the 80s. That's ADHD. She's saying we supposed to be on drugs because our parents was on drugs. And it was like that two-sided perspective. I was like, this young nigga is throwed. So what that made me do, I was like, okay, thinking about the Control reaction, listening to this song, I went and bought me an iPod Nano. I got on iTunes. I still carry an iPod now for my music. I'm old fashioned, but another story. I got me an iPod Nano. I bought Section 80 digitally. I bought Overly Dedicated. I put Good Kid, Mad City in my laptop, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna study this dude. And with me working as a merchandiser, I'm working 10-hour days. All I can do is just sit down and just play music front to back. And I was listening to, I was just bouncing off Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, Overly Dedicated, and just running those kind of like from front to back over and over. And I'm just like, this young dude is hard. Like he's a serious with his storytelling, like Nas level. And as a matter of fact, if I was to describe Kendrick Lamar, Kendrick is actually like a hybrid MC between, if you were to merge Nas and Andre 3000, you would have Kendrick Lamar. sprinkling in the Lil Wayne with like because Kendrick Lamar likes to play with the voices, and I noticed that that's kind of like that's an inspiration from Wayne that he took. Wayne kind of didn't. Wayne just kind of has the pitch change, but when Kendrick Lamar does the voices, it's usually a character. He has the high pitched voice. That's the kid. He has um, the. It's kind of like a crying type voice that's like represents despair. Then it's just his regular rap voice. You know, he does it to for like just whatever the verse is saying, just to get that point across. That's which is something that I actually like a lot. I see a lot of people criticize Kendrick Lamar and his changing the voice, but for me, I would take that over these rappers who sound like they're reading their raps off a sheet of paper, like they're in a like they're on a Clear Eye commercial or something. You know, just no enthusiasm at all. But at the same time, you can also just take Kendrick Lamar's raps and listen to what he's saying, and get your disdain for him out of the picture and listen to the stories that he tells. I mean, because Kendrick Lamar is a great MC, and you know he's on par with Nas. You know, in terms of storytelling. As a matter of fact, Kendrick Lamar is he's like this perfect blend of lyrical storyteller and one of the rappers that just really good with music and vibe, you know. And you usually don't get both. You usually get the lyrical guy or you get like the vibe guy. And Kendrick Lamar is like a perfect blend of both. And that's another thing that's dope about Kendrick Lamar. You can get your vibe stuff, and he's a great songwriter. Like Kendrick Lamar is a very musical lyricist. And another a thing, one of the things that I really like about Kendrick Lamar's style is that he uses his voice. I've seen people say that he uses his voice like an instrument, and I can see that. But Kendrick Lamar, when he raps a verse, he doesn't do it a lot, but he does do it. He does it enough to where you can notice it. But he picks something that you may not be paying attention to, and he'll rap his verse to it. Like if you take P&P 1.5 that's on Overly Dedicated, um, after you get past the give me that funk, that sweet, that nasty, that good shit stuff, when he gets to that, I wrote this song when they drove home and caught that fat when it he's back, he's actually rapping to the hi-hat. The hi-hat is if you don't know what hi-hat is, that's the sounds. He's rapping his verse to the hi-hat. Then if you come to the more modern, like more today, like the Baby King record, what is that? Not Range Brothers, but I can't think of that song right now. But the Smoking on Your Top 5 Tonight. When he starts rapping, after he gets past the I am the Omega, DJ Gay Roller Gang, SAE, don't you address me unless it's with 4 letters. When you get past that, when he starts rapping his verse, he's mirroring his rap off the bass line that's going like do 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 do. So I'm trying to think how does that verse go? He goes, bitch, looking for a better me. I am a legacy. I come from the 70 in the Adhd Green North. Big shot, big show, cry out therapy. As soon as I press that button, nigga better get right. Let the ambulance coming. Us too. We ain't like we ain't been through nothing. Day free. Got at least 1 B in the oven. So when he drops his tone, he says, I'm tripping, amazing, brother. Pop off only on occasion, brother. He shows, that's the point of him revealing that he's rapping to the bass line, but he started that way. But after he drops that tone, and then you can hear him following the do 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 do. Soon as I press that button, nigga better get right. The ambulance coming. Day free, got at least 1 B in the oven. My treatment amazing, brother. Pop off only on occasion, brother. Rich nigga, man, I made it, brother. New flows come and be patient, brother. Face it, brother. Gracious, brother. New flows come and be patient, brother. He was rapping to that bass line the entire time, but it's like he dropped his tone to show that to you and then brought his tone back up, and now it mirrors it. And it's like he does little stuff like that. Like he'll pick something weird and rap to it. Like another thing, the King Kunta on to Pimp a Butterfly, when he does the I was gonna kill a couple rappers, but they did it to themselves. They replied to suicide. They didn't even need my help. He's rapping to a guitar riff that I could not even hear. I could not even hear that the first few times I heard it, but like listening to it over and over, I could hear it in the background because he's rapping to the and it's like he always does little things like that when it comes to how he's rapping his verse, because a lot of times, you know, a lot of people have this thing with people who rap fast. They're like, oh, it's just fast rap. Like, no, he actually has that verse mirrored off something that's moving at that pace, as opposed to it just being rapping fast to say and rapping for the sake of rapping fast. But at the same time, like I said, you can take Kendrick Lamar lyrics and write them down and read them off paper and see what you can get the poetic value out of it. Um, Now, in terms of bar for bar, if you Kendrick Lamar started more as a bar for bar type of rapper, more in his K.Dot days, coming into um when he made C4, like at the front half of his career, he was more bar for bar. But as he progressed and matured in his music, he dialed the bar for bar back and focused more on his writing, and that's where the fruit of Kendrick Lamar is in his actual writing. But yeah, because I've seen people say that Kendrick Lamar don't have bars. Same rapper that says um back when my heart and inventing, back with another war pentant, salute me or shoot me. I never wore kufi, ignore my religion. I believe it's one God, it's one love. And I believe if I fly, we all dove. I make a way for my people to see the light brighter than yellow bones. And me and my microphone could be one until I see big, Pac, see pun. But this ain't easy. I can't take a big L. My city needs me. I gotta win. The proof is in the pudding. And I've been fronting for Cosby since I was 10. You damn right. Any means necessary, get the kid and kill him right. Very emotional. I'm a Gemini. I love hard and I fight harder. A born author, a born starter. In the game for real. In the game's appeal to the struggling youth with no father. You can't learn if mistakes ain't made. You gotta pay homage in order to get paid. You gotta pay attention in order to pay dues, and you ain't getting it till you start paying Jews. And this is the dude that they saying ain't got bars. But I mean, like I said, when you go back to his previous work, that's when you get his bar for bar stuff. But when you come to like a Good Kid, Mad City, and going into to Pimp a Butterfly, he did dial back his bar for bar to focus on his writing, which I actually liked. I actually liked the fact that he focused on writing, because you could get some million rappers you can get doing the bar for bar stuff. And even on TDE, if we're just going bar for bar, like Ab-Soul is a better bar for bar rapper than Kendrick Lamar. I feel like even at his best, because Ab-Soul is just kind of out of this world. I'll eventually get to Ab-Soul in my artist analysis. But as far as conceptual storytelling, Kendrick Lamar is the king of his generation, and he's Kendrick Lamar is in that top 5 discussion. I won't hard put him there. He's in my top 5, but he definitely belongs to the discussion with the likes of your Tupacs, your Jay-Z's, your Eminems, your Bigs, whoever you have in your top 5. Kendrick Lamar is in that discussion, and you can go study that music. You know, that music is out there. A lot of people feel like there's a certain time period that you have to be out before you can be considered for the conversation. And my whole thing is, you have a rapper like Biggie Smalls that released 2 albums when he was alive, and he's in the discussion. And what was that, 95 and 97? You know, and he's kind of stapled in that discussion. So yeah, we could put Kendrick Lamar in there too, based on what C4, Kendrick Lamar EP, Overly Dedicated, Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Untitled, Unmastered, and Damn. You know, that body of work. Now, I mean, even if we went back to the period when 2015, that was when the commotion was. A lot of the commotions, like he doesn't belong. Like even up to that point, like I said, the Kendrick Lamar EP, Overly Dedicated, Section 80, Good Kid, M.A.A.d City, and To Pimp a Butterfly, that that body of work is some of the most. That's like some of the most non-miss um, projects in sequence that I had seen out of any rapper. You know, now if the people would probably criticize and probably hadn't heard it or they didn't want to give it credit, but yeah, those projects are serious. Like Kendrick Lamar is definitely uh definitely belongs in that conversation, and I won't take any debate against that. In terms of MCing, I mean, like I said, I mention this a lot. You can go with the I don't like these beats, this, that, and the third. But like when we're talking about MCing, these numbers, we can look at this stuff. We can look at what these stories mean. This stuff can be measured, you know. So, but yeah, man, K Dot, he, you could, you could say that he takes too long to put out music, and I can't say that I think that it has been too long since Damn released. That it should possibly be another album in between, but the way TDE is ran, and I do think the way that Top ran TDE with the only one artist album out at one time, I think that that process is kind of dated because now we're in a. I don't believe that if you put a Kendrick Lamar album out and an Ab Soul album out, that fans are gonna say, "Oh, I just want to hear Kendrick and I don't want to hear Ab Soul." I believe you can have all four because Ab Soul, Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, J Rock, Isaiah Rashad, those guys are all so different that you'd want to hear all of it. So, but that's another discussion. But yes, man, Kendrick Lamar, definitely one of the greatest writers of in rap history. Definitely the greatest rapper of his generation. I will stand on that. And yeah, I don't. He has a. Also, another thing is his body of work is very diverse. He does not have two records that sound the same. The only stuff with Kendrick Lamar that gets what I would call weaker is when he operated under his name, the K Dot. But that was before he got serious about. I ain't gonna say he wasn't serious, but when he was just kind of coming up and just rapping, and then just kind of rapping under the influence. As a matter of fact, that feature that he did on that Game mixtape, he sounded a lot like Jay-Z, and his favorite rappers is actually Jay-Z and Lil Wayne. Tupac is in there too, but Jay-Z and Lil Wayne are like his two most listened to um, favorites because I've heard that in his style. And you take C4, he sounds like Wayne, but Kendrick Lamar EP, he got um, he got a lot of the influences off his style and started sounding like his own. Oh, there's another thing. Kendrick Lamar has one of my favorite trio of songs. He has a little airplane trilogy. It's the song Trip from the Kendrick Lamar EP, which is the takeoff. Hold Up from Section 80. It's like mid flight. And then on Good Kid, M.A.A.d City, the song The Recipe, which is the landing. You can hear it at the beginning of the song. You will hear Trip, you hear the plane take off. Then the Hold Up, you hear the airplane music. And then he even say, I wrote this record while 30,000 feet in the air. And then on the Recipe at the beginning, you hear the plane landing, you hear the wheels screeching. I thought that was a little cool thing that he did with those three songs. Um, another thing, like Kendrick Lamar is his thing is bookend storytelling. Like he doesn't do too much in the realm of leaving things to be decided. He will start a story, he's going to open it up and he's going to close it. So he's not much in the realm of an abstract rapper. He may have an abstract metaphor, but his storytelling is a bookend. He starts it here and he ends it here. And the strength of Kendrick Lamar's verses when you put him at the end of a song. And I think it's because of him being a bookend storytelling. He he starts here, builds it up, and then he's gonna finish it strong to like tie everything together. And this is displayed on like just how brilliant his writing is perfectly displayed on To Pimp a Butterfly. He structured a poem, um, which the crazy thing about it is he structures a poem and it's like, you know, the writing process. You might write some lines here and then you might put it down. But the thing about the poem on To Pimp a Butterfly is it actually bookmarks the album. The song, like when he says, I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence. Sometimes I did the same. And then you go into these walls where he's talking about a song where he misuses influence. Then I think the next one where he comes back in. I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence. Sometimes I did the same. Um, I can't remember, but he had the part where it goes. I found myself in a hotel room, which is leads into the "You" song. If that's something that you missed, go back and pay attention to where the poem left off and what song it leads into. Then to get to the end of the album, and the reveal is it's actually a letter to Tupac, and he's actually taking you back to that instance where, because before Kendrick Lamar blew up, he said that he had like a an interaction with a spiritual interaction with Tupac. Um, Whether you buy into that or not, some people don't believe in the spirit world. That's completely up to you. But that was his experience, and I think that that was cool that he was able to find a way to put that in the album. And To Pimp a Butterfly was actually supposed to be called Tupac, To Pimp a Caterpillar, TU period PAC, you know, Tupac. But that would have given the album away. Well, of course, you going through it, you would still have to see which ways it went, but the reveal at the end to have that discussion with Tupac, you probably would have saw it coming if he would have called it Tupac as opposed to Pimp a Butterfly. But yeah, man, Kendrick Lamar is brilliant, a very brilliant writer, and I don't know why he receives so much hate, but he receives a lot of love. But then that's another thing too. There are people who will take a Kendrick Lamar project and play the first song 5 minutes into the song and the album is a classic. I'm like, no, that person is over the top. But the person that just calls it trash without both of y'all are over the top. Listen to the whole thing. I'm the person that's gonna listen to the whole thing. I played Kendrick Lamar's entire career, front to back, multiple times. These are albums of quality. These albums are better than some of your favorite rappers' uh, albums. You can argue with your mama about that, but K Dot, man, he's amazing. He needs to be cherished while he's here. And you know, I just if somebody who takes the craft seriously, I always respect that. I speak about these rappers who out here to get their money, get your paper, but man, when it comes down to leaving your legacy, what people want to hear, what's gonna live on after you're done recording music of quality, Kendrick Lamar is definitely recording that type of music, and he's speaking about the struggle. This stuff is going to be relevant for years and years and years to come. But yeah, now if I were to, on my final notes, I would say my favorite project, of course, To Pimp a Butterfly is actually my second favorite album of all time. But To Pimp a Butterfly first, then Section 80, then I would put Overly Dedicated, then I'd put Good Kid, Mad City, and what I put behind that, I would say Damn. Damn for me is a little bit, it's weaker than a lot of his other projects, but at the same time, it's kind of like I felt like it was a response to the the polarization or the polarized response to Pimp a Butterfly, because To Pimp a Butterfly is a masterpiece, and if you look at all the any rap, any artist, or any not even just rap, anything that's like a masterpiece that gets put out, it is highly scrutinized. It makes people feel, it that stuff that you put it out and people are just like, yeah, I don't know. 9 times out of 10 is not a masterpiece. But as a response to that, it feels like Damn, which is still a very well written album, but it's almost like a bunch of singles that sit next to each other um that aren't quite as cohesive as his previous work. I still like Damn, but I like the more cohesive work that he does. So that's why I will put Damn in the fifth slot. And Untitled Unmastered. Well, damn, I left Kendrick Lamar EP off. I'll have to put Kendrick Lamar EP under Good Kid, Mad City. I mean, and me putting it in that order out after we get past To Pimp a Butterfly in Section 80, just because I would have overly dedicated third don't mean you could flip Good Kid for that and then flip Kendrick Lamar EP into those. After my first two slots, you can just flip those albums. It's just, if I just have to put them in order, that will be the order I put them in. But yeah, Kendrick Lamar, he has a great body of work. If you like listening to rappers who tell stories, and he'll give you a well placed punchline in a song when you're not looking for it. Like my favorite song on Good Kid, Mad City is The Art of Peer Pressure, when he was like, and a hard bar he put in there when he was like, the windows rolled down, all I see is a hand pass it, hotboxing like George Foreman, grilling the masses. And it's like, Kendrick Lamar, like I say, he's not a bar for bar rapper, but yeah, he's gonna have a well placed punchline to let you know, like, yeah, we got these bars on deck if we got to bring them out. But that's just not his style in totality. But yeah, that's all I got for this one. Man, I'm excited about whatever the new project's gonna be. Um, I'm willing to wait on it, especially if it's gonna be a masterpiece, because we're in an era of oversaturation is a thing. I would say that Kendrick Lamar, we've been undersaturated, but if he's not motivated to put out a project, I don't want to hear it, because I don't like hearing the rappers where it's like, oh, it's time for a new project from me, just because a time loop has came around. Put out something that you're actually inspired to put out, so where it pushes the genre forward. That's what I'm about. But that's all I got for you, man. Go bump you some Kendrick, and tell me in the comments what some of your favorite songs, what some of your favorite albums, when you first got on Kendrick, and how you feel about it. Is it, you like it? Is it trash? Whatever. But yeah, let's talk about it in the comments. All right, peace.